Hi everybody, this is Trisella. The sun's pretty bright, shining in my eyes here. I'm really excited about this video because it took quite a while. I'm putting together samplings of the sounds that I capture at all the different active Sasquatch areas, and I'm putting them together so to compare and to show that we've got this pattern, this established pattern of sounds that they make, at least in my region, and behaviors. And it's really important to get this. As soon as I leave the recorder there, they gravitate to the recorder. They are almost every single time there immediately or shortly after, and they stay there at the recorder, messing with it and messing with stuff and making these different sounds. It's right there. It's not like I'm putting a recorder out and catching all these random sounds. He's right there. It's the same being making all these different sounds. You can't pick each one apart and say, well, this one's a squirrel, this one's a bear. It's the same one there making all these different sounds. So I don't want to forget anything, so let me check. This is five main locations now, which I know sounds crazy. It's a little concerning, actually, how many of them are out there. But they're over 40 miles apart. And let's see. And I know people are going to say, why don't you put a camera out? I've tried many cameras many ways. They know about the cameras. They avoid them. Somehow they know. I finally did catch one messing with my trail camera a couple times, and you could see the really long fur, or hair, I should say. A black bear doesn't have hair that long. Raccoons, and you can tell he's super big, huge, and yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I said that. Oh, it's a beautiful fall day. I was out getting some video and photos of the pretty fall colors in Lake Superior, so I want to share that too. It's just a matter of finding the time to do all of this stuff. So they gravitate to the recorders, and they'll stay there all night, off and on. You know, you might not hear them for a little while, and then you'll hear them again, and you'll hear them into the next day, part of the day. It was actually cold at the lake, and now it's nice and toasty here. So, to me, this alone is proof of Bigfoot. All these sounds by the same thing, and I'm always aware, you know, occasionally a squirrel or something will come in, but you listen closely. I've listened to like 2,500 hours of audio. 2,500, did I say that right? 2,500 hours of audio. You get a good feel for it, for the behavior, for the animals. Like squirrels, they're very spastic. They'll jump on the recorder, and you can tell that's a squirrel. And usually, you know, that's during the day, of course. But if you take all this audio I'm presenting you, and you put it together, you have to put it all together. 17-inch footprints, right where there's tree barriers, big constructed tree barriers. Shortly after I went to the one site this year, I went back. There was a maple tree bent right at the beginning of the hidden trail there. Nobody else goes there. And large branches ripped out of big trees and piled up on the ground. The wind doesn't do that. I'm sorry. It's like random different branches. And the trail camera footage, all the vocalizations, yells, and I got chatter. I didn't include any vocalizations in these. This is mostly all the regular sounds I get right there. The yells and that, it's usually distant. I have some interesting vocalizations near the recorder, though. But this is gonna be all the other stuff. And they will push the buttons, little tiny buttons. They're not like beep, beep, beep. They'll press the button, beep, and there'll be a really long pause, beep. And this might go on for 3 or 4 minutes. They'll press it 3 or 4 times over that time, and then they'll shut it off. Or sometimes they'll just shut it off. And they're always handling the recorders. And plus, it's just, it all stacks up so much. There's so many subtle things and big things. For the last 2 years, I'll put out, some food is in wrappers, or I'll put a sandwich in a Ziploc, and you'll see these. You'll never see big teeth marks or claw marks. You'll see these 2 big holes, like fingers, like you ripped the bag open. You just have to put it all together. You can't pick one piece of the puzzle out and tell what the picture is from that one piece. And that's, a lot of people like to do that to manipulate and say they don't exist, blah, blah, blah. And I was going to delve into that more. I'm going to do a separate video. I didn't want this to get too long. I'm going to talk about why this can't be just a whatever, fill in the blank. It's just a bear. No, it's not just a bear. It's not somebody messing with me. And then I can direct people to this video and just, so they can just see. I'll explain it all because it's just too hard. And you can't talk about this stuff in passing in conversation with people because you say one little thing, oh, well, that's just this or that. And you don't have time to explain the whole story. So let's just get into it here. Let's see. I shortened all the clips. They're nice and short, most of them. I tried to do 1 clip per site, per sound, but there are exceptions, and I'll explain all that. When I was thinking about, what's the best way to do this? I don't know how to narrate audio as it goes, and I know people don't like to read descriptions, and I don't like being in front of the camera. But I thought, well, this would be the best way. I'll just narrate, and I'll tell you the clips coming up, and then you can listen. And I'll tell you any extra information. And they'll be in order, unless I just, I'll tell you this for all the clips. But most will be in order from, there's the main gifting site, Site 2, which is a mile away, and then there's the 2 new lakes, which are over 40 miles away. There's the larger lake, the smaller lake, and then behind my house. Yeah, they're behind my house now. I would always, when I leave an area, I wouldn't always remember to do it. I'd be like, you're not allowed to follow me home in the name of Jesus. And there's power in that, but I didn't always remember to do that. And they could have been here already because there's this big marshy lake not far from here, and the Lake Superior is right here. So anyway, I'm trying not to get this too long. So the first ones I'm going to play, they're the scratch sound. And yes, I know animals can scratch. And again, he's there. That's what they do. And it varies from a really light scratch to, I called it the Velcro sound for a while because it sounds like a Velcro wall just being ripped over. They'll do this for hours on end. And then they might pause for a while and do it again. Or it sounds like a tree being shredded. I think most of the ones that I'm sharing here are the louder ones because they're just cooler. So this is such a common sound at every site. It's one of the ways I know right away they're there. It's a particular kind of sound. And I included 2 for each site. So I'll go ahead and put those audio clips right here. So go ahead and listen to those ones. Okay, the next one, which is very common, is the whistles. I get the whistles every location. Most of the locations is just a subtle, just real short, nothing dramatic. And I've heard that in person. And I told that story one time. And this one I'm just mixing a whole bunch of them together because most of them, the variations I get at the original gifting site, and some of the words I'm using to describe these sounds is like, some of them kind of sound like a harmonica almost. Some kind of like a party horn, like New Year's Eve, or fawn bleeding, which it's not. It's Sasquatch. Sometimes it sounds like a creaky branch, and I have actually recorded creaky branches, but you can tell the difference because he'll do that. He does this half-hearted whistle where he's just blowing air. It's like, and you know any bird that does that? No, no birds do that. And sometimes it sounds like a squeaky swing set. Sounds like it's really melodic. One time he finally mimicked my whistle. I'll whistle before I leave. I'll go a little louder. At first it was kind of just to let them know I was here, but I know that's not necessary because they're always there anyway. So sometimes I whistle now just to let myself know I'm leaving. Anything after this is not me. If something happens, it's not me making that sound. So I think that's it for these ones. There is a noisy highway in the distance. It sounds pretty loud like it's right there, but it's not. It's in the distance, but it still is annoying. So go ahead and listen to all these different whistles. It's really fascinating. So go ahead and listen to those. see, the next one, and I know this sounds totally bonkers. Every location, it's often, you hear them carrying some kind of small animal with them. Yeah, I know it sounds nuts. And you can tell when the Sasquatch moves like he's handling a quarter, you can hear it being jostled, and it's making these squeaky sounds. It's not a mouse. I had a couple experts tell me it's not a bat. Maybe it's a cryptid animal. Who knows? But I don't know if he carries it in his hand or it's just where when he moves around it gets jostled. So I included one clip from every site, including back here behind the house. And I think that's all I got to say. So go ahead and listen to this one where you got this small animal making sounds with this Sasquatch. Such a beautiful fall day today. I was out getting some video and photos to share on. I'm going to do a post on my Sasquatch site. So next up is rock clacks. I didn't get rock clacks for a few months, and then the first ones I got, it was pretty cool. It was like, and they're clacking these rocks together. And a couple of sites, some of these sites I have only recorded a little over a month, so it's surprising that I got all these at all the sites. But a couple of these rock clacks, they're not great, but I wanted to include at least one from every site. And some of them, like behind the house, I get a lot of rock clacks, but a lot of times they're spaced out a lot. So it's hard to get like one short, great clip where you get all these great rock clacks. And if you listen close, you're going to hear responses farther away. You might want to turn the audio up. And let's see. Responses. Yep, I think that's all I have to say about these ones. So go ahead and listen to the rock clack ones now. I think we're about halfway there. One of the interesting sounds I get, I describe it as a ratchet-like sound, or like a big dial being turned. I can picture this game show, or maybe they have this huge knob and you turn it, it goes click, 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 click. It's just really weird sound. I have no idea how they do it. I have this at every location, so I'm going to play one clip from every location. So go ahead and give that a listen. The ratchet. Okay, next up we have knocks. I've got quite a few. I don't hear a lot of knocks, and I didn't hear them for a long time, and it's usually at a distance. Most of these are right at the recorder, and sometimes it's hard to tell. Is it a knock? Is it rocks? Is it a snap? But I believe these are knocks, and some of them are hard to hear. And I got, even though I've heard them at every location, I don't have real great ones for the lakes, so I didn't include those. I've got a couple from the gifting side, a couple from here, and there are some rock clacks mixed in some of these. So go ahead and take a listen to the knocks. I actually tried to do this. I went to the lake shore close by, and it was actually really chilly. Now I'm really hot here, but I was trying to get the lake in the picture and the pretty colors and the sun, but the sun's so low, I was having trouble doing that. But if one of these doesn't turn out right, you might see one of those video clips that I tried to do. So the next one is mouth sounds they make. This is just a bunch from all the different places, and some of them, they're these kind of subtle snap pop sounds. Usually when I'm still there, I can't hear it until I listen back to the recorder. I wonder if it's maybe just kind of like he's anticipating, like he's trying to be quiet because I'm still there, but he's like, what is she doing? I don't know. I get tongue clacks and mouth pop sounds. I think I got a couple of coo sounds. And I don't have that. I didn't actually put that one together yet. I have a whole long list of different mouth sounds. So, and at the end of it, I'm going to put a bonus. Dogman. He's putting the recorder by his mouth, and you can hear him breathing. It's really freaky. So go ahead and give those a listen. Okay, next up we have every single time they handle the recorder, at least once, usually it's throughout the day or night or whatever. I kind of wonder maybe if it's like a security thing where they're like monitoring, they know it's there to see if it's still going, or I have no idea, but they'll handle it, and I get that a lot. I do. So I put together one clip for each location, except there's an extra one at the start for the gifting spot, because in these two, it's very rare I hear footsteps walking in on the audio. I've heard it in person. But the first two clips, one of them sounds like he's agitated, and he walks up to the recorder. He doesn't grab it real loud, but you can hear him. And then the other one, he's handling it, and then you can hear a little bit of walking around. So that's the ones where I call it, he just handles it. He handles the recorders, and sometimes he pushes the buttons, and I'll do that one next. Okay, the next one, I just mentioned they'll push the buttons. They don't just like beep, 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 beep. I think I said this already. He'll push a button, and there'll be a long pause. He'll push a button, and this is every location. It's not like an animal just accidentally stepped on it at every location or whatever. Sometimes they'll just shut it off. So I'm only going to play one, because obviously you don't need to be listening to a bunch of beep beep. This is one that, it's a shorter one. I think he pushes it 3 or 4 times over like a minute. So go ahead and listen to that one now. So I've been recording for 2 seasons, and occasionally I hear a fly by the recorder, which is normal. But after a while, something seemed off, different. It seemed like it was associated with him coming, and not because, I never smelled anything funny. And I can't tell you why. I started thinking that, and then this year, I'm getting a lot of these. It sounds like this really large insect lands on the recorder, making weird sounds, the flapping that I've never heard. And I've captured on trail camera twice this year. I call them cryptid bugs, but they're called rods or skyfish, I guess. And most people explain them away. It's just a camera anomaly. There's no way, if you watch these videos, you can see them change shape. There's a channel I found where he also has Sasquatch in his area, and he's filmed them going through glass doors and stuff. So they're not natural, and they seem to be associated with the cryptids when the cryptids show up. I've had the trail camera, used it many times. I've never seen anything like it until I started recording Sasquatch. And both these times were when I had the camera facing up. It's this box trick that someone told me about. But I've caught them at every location except Site 2 and behind my house. So I've got just several from, like 4 from the gifting side, a couple from a couple of other sites. And that's all I have to say on that one. So go ahead and give that a listen. Just tell me what you think. I don't think it's not a natural bug in Michigan. Also, flies and bees don't fly at night. So that's another issue with when it sounds like just a normal house fly. So go ahead and give those a listen. Okay, last up, almost last. I'm going to play a couple bonus clips at the end. So, spirit voices. See, I did a video on what I believe Sasquatch to be. I don't believe they're strictly just a flesh and blood animal. There's something supernatural. I believe they're part fallen angel over the decades, the generations. But anyway, there's obviously some supernatural stuff that happens around them. And one of them is I get these voices. And I don't try to interact with them. The Bible's really clear about not trying to interact with spirits. And so I do pray about whether I should be interacting with Sasquatch. But I don't try to talk to it. I don't try to interact. I'm not open to mind speak. I think you have to be very careful what you let in. Because you don't know. We don't know everything about these, what exactly all they are, what their intentions are, and how can people automatically assume they're telling the truth when they do say they talk to these things? How do you know they're not being deceptive? Anyway, at the gifting site, the first one I caught it was late at night, it was rainy, and this female voice goes, okay, but it's really drawn out and breathy. And then you hear these male-female echo voices saying the same thing. when I leave a recorder, I'll adjust it and I'll go, okay. I'll say it out loud, and I gotta adjust it. Okay. It's like they were mocking me. And it's not real loud. Some of it's really faint. I do have a clip that I cleaned up on Audacity where you can hear it a little better. When I do that, it downloads different, and it's harder for me to mix with these, so I'll put a link where you can go listen to the cleaned up version. And then the next one, I missed it. It wasn't until a lot later, maybe even a year later, I was listening to where the Dogman had come in, and just before it came in, it was so faint, I hear it's like a single word. I wasn't going to include it, but if you can't hear it, no biggie. It kind of sounded like chesly, gently, something like that. I can't make out what they're saying. And then the third one at the gifting site sounds like demonic being. And that night, and from that night on, that particular recorder had a distorted sound. But even if that distorted sound wasn't there, it would still sound demonic. It's like when Hollywood has a movie and they play a demon laughing, like this really deep demonic laughter. It's just like that. And people are telling me, no, that's Bigfoot. No, I don't believe that's Bigfoot doing that. But you can take a listen. And okay, before my camera so rudely interrupted me, I had to change the battery. I was talking about the demonic sounds. And then at the larger lake, I caught a couple of female voices. There was nobody there. It was right with me. Sasquatch was right there. I didn't know until I listened to the audio. And I don't know, it's kind of like contipa or something like that. You can hear me first. I was saying something out loud. And you hear this voice, and then she says, panko, or something like that. The only panko I know of is Japanese breadcrumbs that I'm used to make stuffed mushrooms. So I don't know what that's about. And at the smaller lake, I can't tell if it's a voice. Kind of reminded me of like a fly that gets trapped in something and it's making noise. I think it is a voice. So I'll go ahead and play those now. Okay, my camera's shutting off now. I think it's overheating. So I'll try to get this in real quick. I'm going to do two bonus clips where behind the house it sounds like he's clapping, and I've never heard that before. It's not rocks, but I'm not sure. You can go ahead and give that a listen. And then there's one clip where it sounds like a raven's having a conversation with a Sasquatch. The raven's making these weird sounds, and you can hear the Sasquatch just whistling very subtly throughout that. It's very interesting. So if you listen this far, thank you. And yeah, I'm going to say it. Go ahead and like and subscribe. I don't make any money, but I still want to get this out to let people know, to raise awareness that these things are out there, and there are things out there, many other things that people don't know about. So just be aware And that's it. Thank you. Goodbye.